Three. Alright, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of TEW Locals Global 1987. We're back with some GCW. Let's get straight into it. GCW Fuel. Alright, if you missed last episode, here is what happened. I just booked Saturday Night's Wrestling, so last week we had the progression for J.J. Dillon, telling Jesse Ventura's out of action, whole bunch of stuff with the Cactus Jack and Austin situation. DDP tonight is going to be facing either Lance Storm or Mike Awesome. I forget who he faced first. He faced Mike Awesome. So he's going to be facing Lance Storm tonight. And a bunch of more stuff. Let's get straight into the episode. So, starting us off, we've got Lance Storm versus Diamond Dallas Page, who is now an upper mid-carder. He's went down. Alright. And it's going to be, let's say, 16 minutes. The Intercontinental Championship will be on the line with DDP retaining the championship by tainted pinfall after interference on Lance Storm from Mike Awesome. So last week we had Storm accidentally costing Awesome the match, and now Awesome's going to take revenge and cost Storm the match. We're going to have a tag team contest with the Dynamic Dudes, who just recently came back together as a tag team, and they're going to be facing off against the Blue Brothers. And since we can, here, I'm just going to run down who we have as tag teams. So we have the American Males, Marcus Bagwell and Scotty Riggs just came back as a unit. Dynamic Dudes, same thing, just came back. Harlem Heat, the World Tag Team Champions. Jeff and Matt Hardy. We got the Headbangers, the Smoking Guns. In our heels, we have the Fire and Ice Train and Scott Norton. The Head Shrinkers, Mortis and Wrath, who had just debuted. The Blue Brothers. The Eliminators, who are currently feuding with the World Tag Team Champions, Harlem Heat. The front line, Sergeant Armstrong and Commodore Kurgan. The Nasty Boys, and Well Done. Anyway, it's going to be around 7 minutes with Johnny Ace getting the victory. Alright, we're going to have... let's see what we did last week. Last week we had Austin stun J.J. Dillon. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to have J.J. Dillon come down to the ring and announce something. J.J. Dillon promo on Steve Austin. That's going to be around 10 minutes. We're going to have an episode of Disco TV with Disco Inferno, our host, and he's going to be interviewing the reigning TEW TV champion. Holy shit, I can't talk for nothing. So Disco TV featuring Fit Finley. And it's going to end with Finley, Tombstone's Disco. Alright, that can go there. We're going to have a backstage promo with the Eliminators, Perry Saturn and John Cronus. So the Eliminators, backstage promo on Harlem Heat. That can go around there. We're going to have Taz get a backstage promo. Taz backstage promo on Steve Austin, who is the GCW World Heavyweight Champion. Let's not forget that. We're going to have a Chris Jericho promo. Chris Jericho is going to call out Aldo Montoya, because last week Jericho had an open challenge for his Cruiserweight Championship that's not really his. It still belongs to Eddie. He still has the belt, by the way. And Aldo came out for the challenge, but Eddie Guerrero was under the mask the whole time, so tonight we're going to acknowledge that. Jericho calls out Aldo Montoya, and Eddie will jump Chris Jericho from behind. So it's going to be all a ruse. I can go around there. Actually, we can put that higher up on the card. The Cruiserweights deserve a chance. So we're also going to have a backstage promo with Marcus Bagwell. Hello? Marcus Bagwell, Scotty Riggs, and the Patriot. So we're okay. Bagwell, Riggs, and Patriot form the American Males. Again, if you haven't heard the theme for the American Males, the WCW theme song, go check that out right now. It is the best theme song I have ever heard in my entire life. Alright, now we can fill in some matches because we got all our angles and our storylines progressed. So before the Jericho segment, we're going to have a match. So who's not on the card? Dustin Rhodes isn't on the card, so we're going to give him a match. Brian Christopher also not on the card, so we're going to give him a match. It's going to go around 10 minutes. And we're going to give Dustin Rhodes the victory. Got a match there. Before the Taz segment, we're going to have a match. We're going to put Jerry Lynn in a match. He's not really doing anything. So Jerry Lynn will be facing off against the leader of franchise, Chris Candido. And we're going to give them 15 minutes. You know what? I think they can pull out a great match tonight, so we're going to give them a chance to shine. And we're going to put the Dustin Christopher match over here. Disco TV featuring Fit Finlay. So tonight, let's get a lower card match. Kona Crush. Now, he was on Saturday Night's Wrestling, so let's put Tommy Dreamer in instead. Kama. Yeah. 7 minutes. Kama Mustafa gets the victory. And before that match, we're going to have a 3-on-3 match with the front line and one more member of Lieutenant Flynn. Nah. Commander Cobra. Let's do him. And we're going to do the Headbangers, so Mosh and Thrasher, as well as... Who else can we put in this match? 1, 2, 3 Kid? No, I don't really want to bury him any more than I have to. Let's do Savio Vega. Double duty Savio Vega, because he wrestled on Saturday Night's Wrestling. But it's fine. Sergeant Armstrong will be getting the victory. I can open the show. Let's go. So, opening up our show, we've got the GCW Commissioner, J.J. Dillon, and he says Austin last week put his hands on the GCW Commissioner, and that was a mistake, because now he has to punish Austin. So what's going to happen is, he's not going to vacate the championship or anything, but at March Massacre, Steve Austin will face off against Cactus Jack in a non-title match. And the reason for the non-title match is this. If Cactus Jack wins the match, he earns a GCW contract and will officially be allowed into arenas, be allowed to work for GCW and be on the payroll, and will then be eligible for a future World Championship opportunity against Steve Austin. So that's official. At March Massacre, we get to see Cactus Jack versus Steve Austin in a non-title match. If Cactus Jack wins, he will get a GCW contract. So 84. We got a 3-on-3 tag match. Not much going on, just a filler match. And the backstage promo, Bagwell, Riggs, and the Patriot are officially the American Males. Tommy Dreamer versus Kama Mustafa. Not much to say. Just trying to get these two on the card. Disco TV featuring Fit Finlay. He interviews Fit Finlay on being the TV champion, and eventually says something that Finlay, disagrees with or is a little bit irritated by. So he picks up Disco Inferno and tombstones him. That's it. TV champ Finlay. Dustin Rhodes versus Brian Christopher ends with Rhodes defeating Christopher in 9:39 by pinfall with a bulldog. Gets a 77. We're backstage with Taz, and he remembers at No Love Lost when he has a steel cage match against Austin, and somehow the Syndicate still managed to find a way to interfere in the match. So what's going to happen next week? He challenges Steve Austin to a one-on-one singles match with no interference, no bullshit. The better man will win. So next week, Taz wants Austin for the World Championship in a fair one-on-one contest. In 83, Then we get the Dynamic Dudes taking on the Blue Brothers, and in 6:45, Ace defeats Jacob Blue by pinfall with a Spike DDT. It's a 76. We're backstage with the Eliminators, and they're cutting a backstage promo on Harlem Heat saying that the Eliminators were always the better tag team, and they're going to prove that at March Massacre when the two face off for the World Tag Team Championships. Alright, Jerry Lynn and Chris Candido. Jerry Lynn still in the feud with the Syndicate, but, you know, didn't have anything to do with it tonight because Steve Austin is not here. Well, I didn't want to use him, so. Chris Candido, the leader of Franchise. Franchise has fallen off a bit, but we're trying to get them back up there. Jerry Lynn versus Chris Candido in 15 minutes. Jerry Lynn gets a victory with a cradle pile driver, gets a really good rating. Both these guys, tremendous talents in ECW. And Jerry Lynn hitting his prime in Ring of Honor and in TNA, in my opinion. Really had great matches. Chris Candido, shame that he passed away so young, but he was a great wrestler. 85. And that's the entertainment on Aldo Montoya. But in reality, this would be a pretty great segment. So Jericho calls out Aldo Montoya. He swears it's Eddie Guerrero under that mask. He wants Aldo Montoya to take off that mask right now, right here. And Guerrero jumps Chris Jericho from behind. Beats him down. Gets a 56. And in our main event, the Intercontinental Championship match, DDP defeats Lance Storm in 16:25 by pinfall with a diamond cutter after Mike Awesome interfered. So DDP makes defense number 2 of the GCW Intercontinental Championship, gets an 87 to end our show with an 84. Let's see what we got here. Processing workers. This is a long simulation. Alright. Let's see what we got going on here. Funaki is now available to work in all game areas. Might eventually sign Funaki for the Cruiserweight division. Fatu's contract is ending. We're going to re-sign Rikishi Fatu to a written contract, and it's going to last 4 years. Eventually, he's going to break up apart from Samu. I'm still waiting on that breakup. Savio Vega's contract's ending. We're going to give him a pay-per-appearance contract. Let's say 800 per appearance. We're going to give him 9 months. 890. That's fine. So Savio going to be staying with us for another 9 months. Simon. Now I don't have any plans for Simon. So I guess we're just going to let his contract run out for now. We're going to add him to our short list, but for the future. But it looks like he's going to be gone soon. Injury for Lex Luger. Contract offer. Alright. Let's get to our second show of today's episode, Fuel, the final show before March Massacre, which we're also going to see the results of this episode. Let's get to it. Alright, second show of today's episode. Let's get straight into GCW Fuel. Here's what you missed on Saturday night's wrestling this week. Sinister Minister and Wrath and Mortis promo. Wrath defeating Savio Vega. Chris Candido cutting a backstage promo. And a 30-minute draw between Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio for the Cruiserweight Championship. And after the match, Eddie had to shake hands with Mysterio and raise it. This is the start of something special for Rey Mysterio. He's going to get there eventually. So stick around for Mysterio's rise in the Cruiserweight division. We're almost getting there. Alright, let's book our show. We're going to have a tag team match tonight. It's going to be the Dynamic Dudes. Going to be facing off against Fire and Ice. And in 8 minutes, Shane Douglas will be getting the victory. Alright, we're going to be cutting a promo with Diamond Dallas Page. So Diamond Dallas Page, Mike Awesome, and Lance Storm, and J.J. Dillon. Okay. TDP promo. Awesome comes out. Storm comes out. JJ announces triple threat. And that's going to be the plan for March Massacre. You can probably puzzle the rest together. We're going to have our main event. Steve Austin versus Taz for the GCW World Championship. Taz, Steve Austin, and in 15 minutes, the world champion, Steve Austin, will be retaining the championship. Okay, let me see what we got post-match. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have Steve Austin, Cactus Jack, Taz, and Cactus Jack can be on Menace. So Cactus Jack attacks Austin. He and Taz run away through the crowd. 7 minutes for that. We're going to have a tag team contest. It's going to be the Eliminators versus the Smoking Guns. And Perry Saturn will be getting the victory. We're going to have distractions throughout the match with Booker T distracting Saturn and Stevie Ray distracting John Cronus. Alright, we're going to have a match between Finley and a jobber. We have to find somebody who is not that great. Let me do somebody who's actually kind of recognizable first. I want to see who we got. Dan Severn, Jack Victory. He's not got Blue Meanie. Okay. Vito, Super Crazy, Steve Wright. Raven. What's Raven's popularity at? That's not that great. Johnny Gunn, Johnny Swinger. Let's do Johnny Swinger. Gonna be a face. It's gonna be an enhancement talent. So we're gonna do Johnny Swinger versus Fit Finley. TV Championship not on the line, with Finley dominating. Yeah, that's not on the line. And after the match, we're going to have Disco Inferno attack Fit Finley. So Disco and Fit Finley. I'm going to put Disco on selling because Disco attacks Finley. Finley puts Disco through a table. Okay, that can go there. We're going to have a singles match with Chris Jericho and Aldo Montoya. It's going to be around 7 minutes with Chris Jericho getting the victory. Alright. And we're going to have a meeting with the Armed Forces. Sergeant Armstrong, Commander Cobra, Lieutenant Flint, and Commodore Kurgan. Menace for everybody. Sergeant Armstrong talks to his troops. They are under attack from the American males. Alright, that can go there. Am I missing a promo? Nope. Alright, we've got one more segment on the show. It's going to be with Fatu, Samu, and Simon. So here's what's going to happen. Fatu turns on Samu. And that's it. And we're going to have a match before that. We're going to have a tag team match with the Head Shrinkers. They're going to be losing against the Headbangers. Mosh defeating Samu. I don't care. That's going to go there. We're going to have a singles match. On the card, it's going to be the Barbarian versus somebody we're trying to build up. So who do we want to build up? Jerry Lynn needs to go up in popularity. Rey Mysterio also needs to. Let's do Rey Mysterio. Double duty Rey Mysterio, because he worked Saturday Night's Wrestling, which was earlier tonight. I don't care. That can go there. And after the match, we're going to have an angle with the Barbarian and Rey Mysterio. So Barbarian tries to attack Mysterio, but he fights him off. Because we're trying to build up Rey. So let's run the show. The go-home show before March Massacre starts with the Dynamic Dudes going over on Fire and Ice. The Headbangers go over on the Head Shrinkers, and afterwards, Fatu turns on Samu and aligns himself with Simon as his new friend, bodyguard, whatever you want to call him. Chris Jericho goes over on Aldo Montoya. We got Sergeant Armstrong talking to his troops. He's going to be... No, he's not in the match, actually. Commander Cobra, Lieutenant Flint, and Commodore Kurgan are facing off against the American Males in a 3-on-3 tag match this Sunday. Rey Mysterio goes over on the Barbarian. Afterwards, he tries to attack, but Rey Mysterio fights him off. Fit Finlay destroys Johnny Swinger. Afterwards, Disco tries to attack Finlay, but Finlay puts him through a table, so it looks like these two will also be facing off at March Massacre. The Eliminators go over on the Smoking Guns. Not much to say. DDP promo, Awesome comes out, Storm comes out, and JJ will announce a triple threat taking place this Sunday, DDP versus Awesome versus Lance Storm for the Intercontinental Championship. And in our main event, Steve Austin goes over on Taz, retaining the World Championship. And after the match, Cactus Jack attacks Austin and runs away with Taz through the audience. So that was the final show before Fuel. As normal, we're not going to show the booking process for March Massacre. We're just going to show the results. So let's get straight into that right now. Alright, let's get straight into March Massacre 1995. Opening up our show, we've got Simon introducing the crowd to the new dominant force in GCW. It is the Sultan. And we're starting off with the Sultan versus Samu, and the Sultan destroys Samu in 525 by pinfall with a big splash. Gets a 38. Not a great start, but you know what? And we sold out tonight, the New Jersey Izod Center. It's 38. We've got the American Males facing off against Armed Forces. Subpar Wrestling Little Heat. Scotty Riggs defeats Commander Cobra by pinfall. His former tag team partner. Marcus Bagwell with a 65. Not bad. And after the match, the Armed Forces kick out Commander Cobra. So now they're down to 3 members. You can't lose in the Armed Forces. We've got the TV Championship match. It's a tables match, and Finlay gets the victory in 15-18 when Disco Inferno was put through a table with a powerbomb, let's say. Fit Finlay gets a 70, Disco with a 50, gets a 69. Next up, I believe, is the Cruiserweight Championship match. It is Eddie Guerrero versus Chris Jericho in Superb Wrestling Decent Reaction. Jericho defeats Eddie and is officially the new GCW Cruiserweight Champion. Eddie with an 89, Jericho with a 78, gets an 85. Next up, I believe, is either the tag team title match or a promo segment. It is a promo segment with Empire. So Empire cutting a promo, and Jesse Ventura returns. And Empire's promo was all about how they're, still not being used properly, how they're not, deserving, how they're not getting what they deserve. And Jesse Ventura makes his return and says, "You guys could be so much more. Join the Syndicate, and we'll be the most dominant force in GCW." So Jesse James refuses. Hunter Hearst Helmsley refuses. Alex Wright says no. And it comes down to Chris Candido and Diesel. And They start beating down Hunter Hearst, Helmsley, Alex Wright, and Jesse James, and they accept. Chris Candido and Diesel have officially joined the Syndicate. So Ventura's got himself some new soldiers in the Syndicate. Diesel and Chris Candido. Chris Candido, great additions. 86 World Tag Team Championship match is up next. Harlem Heat versus the Eliminators, and the Eliminators once again get the victory and become the World Tag Team Champions. Gets an 85. Next up is the triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. Again, an 85. Superb Wrestling Good Heat. DDP retains the championship. So what's going to happen is Mike Awesome hits the power bomb, the Awesome Bomb, on Lance Storm and goes for the cover, but DDP gets him out of the ring and gets the cover on Lance Storm. So Awesome had the match won, but DDP stole the cover and is still the Intercontinental Champion. Next up, we've got Steve Austin, the World Champion, versus Cactus Jack, and if Jack wins, he earns a GCW contract. And in an 86, Cactus Jack does exactly that, gets the victory with a pile driver in 20 minutes, and earns a GCW contract. But we're not done there. After the match, Ken Shamrock debuts in GCW and attacks Cactus Jack. So I don't know what this means. I don't know what Ken Shamrock is supposed to be doing here. No clue. But in all reality, here's what happens. Syndicate has gained 3 members tonight: Candido, Diesel, and Ken Shamrock. And we're gonna see what that means in the next episode of GCW. Make sure to like if you like this video, subscribe if you want more, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Have a good one. Goodbye.